play like the piano, but I'm kind of the, black sheep in my family, the oddball, that does music and kind of is inspired by like rock and roll and has the colored hair and tattoos and stuff. So yeah, it was a little lonesome growing up, but I found my people in my community.
I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music.
Awesome. I'm Leah.
Nice to meet you, Leah.
Nice to meet you too, Adam.
Are you here? Are you in Nashville?
I am in LA. I
Oh,
was just in Nashville, I think a week ago, but
yeah, I saw. Well, you did the emo night in Nashville, right?
yeah.
I was just curious because via your Instagram, I think it says LA, Nashville, Jersey, or something.
Jersey. Yeah, I bounce around. I go to Jersey in a couple days. I bounce around.
Okay, cool. Where were you originally from?
Jersey. Yeah.
Jersey, born and raised there?
Point Pleasant. Yeah, at the beach. It was born and raised. Yeah.
Cool. What was it like growing up in Jersey?
I loved it. I was a teenager during the Jersey Shore pop off, so
Nice.
I didn't get to experience it like firsthand, with them, but I did get to, be around it, just
Be
as like
around all the gweeds?
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Was that like that must have been, was that just like a completely exaggerated version of what was happening there, or was that like kind of spot on?
Definitely exaggerated, but I will say as I got older and like, became 21 and got to go out, it's a really similar scene.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't mind it. I mean, the fun part of it is cool. I've never been, in the craziness of it, but
Sure.
it's
That's
fun.
funny. Right on. What about music? Do you come from a musical household?
I not entirely. There's like a couple family members of mine that play like the piano, but I'm kind of the, black sheep in my family, the oddball, that does music and kind of is inspired by like rock and roll and has the colored hair and tattoos and stuff. So yeah, it was a little lonesome growing up, but I found my people in my community.
That's cool. And did you like how did you get in music? Like what was the first instrument you learned how to play?
I mean, I've been singing and writing since I was like a very small child. I think my mom just recognized that in me and then put me in like choirs and stuff. I usually say that I got my start in like the Catholic church because I literally sang at like all the masses when I was,
Oh
middle
wow.
school and high school. So
Those
I
aren't
did, yeah.
those aren't easy songs to sing either, those hymns.
Oh, yeah, I was challenged right from the start. So now I can do anything, I think.
Yeah. And you had a crowd.
Yeah, I said that the other day and I was like, that's a pretty big audience that I've been performing in front of for a long time.
Yeah, I bet that helps quite. I mean, I've interviewed other musicians that kind of got their start in the church as well, where I mean, you're playing, well, mass is like once a week, but some of those Christian churches are like multiple times a week, and you have an audience there.
Yeah,
But still,
100
I mean,
people.
singing in front of hundreds of people, I'm sure. I don't know how big your church was, but like on a
Yeah.
weekly basis.
No, that's very true. I didn't even realize that till like it clicked in my head the other day when I said it as well. So I was prepared. I'm grateful for that for sure.
Nice. And so you said you were writing at a very early age. Like, were you writing stories or like melodies and songs?
Songs. I mean, I think my first like full song that I have it too, like sitting in my childhood home was like written in 5th grade. Wrote out like, or maybe 4th grade. I wrote out all the chords and the lyrics on the piano. And I mean, ever since then, that was just kind of my thing that I developed. I really enjoyed doing that.
That's cool. So piano was the first instrument then you learned?
I
You
guess
said
so.
you
I
were,
was
of
gonna say
course, a choir, but you
singing,
played
yeah,
piano.
but yeah, I think piano. I grew up always with like a piano in the house, and just because like my next door neighbors were my aunt and uncle who play piano, so my mom would bring me there and like see if I would like it, and they would teach me some songs, and they all realized I was like musically inclined, so yeah, I got started on the piano. I hated it for a bit, when you're forced to play instruments you hate them.
Sure.
And then I finally picked up everything. I have a bass, I have a guitar, ukulele, piano. I just,
Started
just
acquiring more instruments.
yep, and synthesizers and everything. It's a mess.
Nice. Well, with that first song you said you wrote in 4th grade, like how were you then like was that something you're like, okay, I'm like way into this and just continue to do it? And at what point do you start a band or start playing the songs for people, or is it something you always kind of kept to yourself?
That's a good question. I mean, it just kind of felt like something I just like knew how to do. I didn't notice it was anything like special. And my one friend and I used to write songs in like library class too, and we would like pass the notebook, and that was kind of around the same time. And we would share with our friends. I don't think we ever had the means to record them, but my mom always put like, she grew up in like a school. She still works in the school system back in Jersey, and she would bring me around to her music teachers and all her staff and be like, Leah, play this song that you just wrote. So I guess I was performing it for, some family friends like growing up and stuff, but it was just something I was like, yeah, this is fun. This is my creative outlet. I didn't really think it was anything special at the time
Mhm.
until like I was in high school and like all my friends were starting bands, and I started my band in high school, and that's when I think that's when I realized I was like, okay, I could do this more often, get into a bigger crowd, maybe release music.
And what was this band that you started?
It still was my name, so it was kind of like the tail end of high school. I used to play with some of my friends at my like junior and senior year of high school, because I was doing the show choirs and stuff, and like the school band, and kind of popping in on there. But they would hang out in the band trailer behind our school and just like jam.
Mhm.
And we would just do covers for like a lot of school events. We had like our own version of Woodstock. And this is like a small Catholic school, so
That's awesome.
it's not as cool as it sounds, but
Like,
yeah.
who was playing Woodstock that like you said you did covers and you had your own version of that? So was everyone their own cover band, or you just played music from that time period? And
We just
which
did
Woodstock are
whatever
we
we
talking
wanted.
about? Which Woodstock? Are we in the 90s, 2000, or was it 99? Or are we going way back Woodstock?
Honestly, I think it was just whatever we wanted to play. One of my one friend had like the whole music bank, and he knew a ton of songs, and they had their own little, I don't know, uh collection of songs that they really wanted to play. So it was like early Tame Impala, some Beatles,
Oh,
um,
wow.
some Zeppelin. It just very
Very
random selection, but
sure.
it was fun to sing it. I got asked to sing for that. Oh, I never thought I'd be talking about this like silly high school show ever again.
Well, I love it. I love to hear these stories about people's, kind of origin story on this stuff. That's funny. Well, you said you were in the band in school too. What did you play in the school band?
I kind of like popped in. I played like clarinet for a little bit, but I didn't stick to it because I was like very dedicated to show choir and like musical theater. Um,
Okay.
but I really was like appreciated and loved by the band staff, and they always let me in the trailer. I took like recording. We had like recording classes, and I went to school for music production, so we had like those classes in high school. So I would just pop in the trailer, and my friends would be like, pull out whatever recording gear we had. I made my first ever recorded EP in that little band trailer, and there's like no version of it out in the world, except I think I am the only one who has the files for it, because I pulled that right away after I started taking this seriously. But
Oh, wow.
it still exists. It still comes on when I turn my car on, all the time. It's the only album I have in my Apple library.
Really? You
Yeah.
should that'd be awesome if you released it. Or what if you re-recorded or do you have any of those songs still that
Well,
you play?
fun fact, one of the songs I absolutely adore. It's a honestly pretty good written music. It just like came right after high school, so it's very amateurly recorded. But I did a show in Jersey last year. It was a sold out show at this venue called 10PRL, and we sang, like my high school band basically got together again, and we
Oh,
performed
wow.
one of the songs that's on that first ever silly little EP. So I want to re-release one of them. I think it's a great song. It's one of my favorites I've ever written. Maybe I'll just like record it better.
Right. Yeah. Just re-record it.
Yeah, I
That's
want to.
cool. Or just do an acoustic version or something.
It's kind of like surf rock.
Oh, it
It
needs
needs all the
something.
instruments and stuff.
Got it. For sure. Okay, so you said you went to school for music production. Where did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to Elon University, which is in North Carolina.
Okay, so you went from Jersey to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And what was that did you get I'm not too familiar with the school, but I don't know a whole lot about colleges, but so is that like a 4-year regular, college, or was it like more of a 2-year degree? Like tell me about that.
Yeah, it was a 4-year liberal arts college.
Okay.
I did transfer from a school in an art school in Philly, because I was absolutely mortified at being an adult and being in a huge city as an 18-year-old. So I wanted
Oh,
like
okay. So you went from Jersey then to Philly. That was your
Just
first
for one
move.
year, just for 1 year.
Okay. What was that like? I mean, you just said that it was kind of
I was
terrifying.
honestly, I hated it there. The teachers were incredible. I had some really good friends, but the whole experience was just odd. I also just was I was too sheltered in high school to be thrown into Philadelphia, Center City. And I think
Yeah.
now,
From Catholic school to that. There you
yeah,
go. Okay.
I did some stupid things like walk on the street in a bright, puffy pink jacket at 4 a.m, like not even thinking about it. My dorm was on fire there. That like
Nice.
first floor deli, I experienced that.
Oh man.
It was miserable. I hated it. I do make the best out of every situation though. So you bet I stayed there for a whole year and
Stuck it
trained
out.
home every weekend.
Okay. And then you went just decide, okay, this is enough. I'm gonna go to North
Yeah.
Carolina. Why North Carolina?
I was looking at music production schools all over the country. There were a couple that I don't know that I was thinking about, but I think the appeal at the time for me, it would be different now, I think. But I think the appeal at the time was it was a beautiful campus in the middle of like a sunny green North Carolina with a football team, fraternities and sororities, a cappella
Okay.
groups. Like it was like a movie. The school felt like if you put college on TV or on film. And
Sure,
I
sure,
wanted
sure.
that experience.
Okay. And did you finish there?
I did. Yeah, I finished
Okay.
with I took music production as my major and then communications as my minor, but I finished with just a general music degree because college was hard and I almost dropped out like 20 times.
Right. Were you continuing writing music and releasing it at that point, or is that when
Yeah.
the band broke up? Or
The band was really never, I would say the consistent members were maybe 3 people. And I can, anytime I come home, we all jam still. So it's not like it was never official, but it was never like unofficial or never like broke up.
just kind of like a hiatus?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're
Just-
still like a solo artist, but I tell people I'm a band because I'd rather be a band. But
okay.
yeah, I was releasing music. I actually got I won a songwriting contest. I placed in a songwriting contest I think 3 years in a row at my college, but I won first place one year, and that happened to be the year I was getting flown out to California to do a school program here for 3 months. So I had been in LA for 6 years, but for 2 of those years I was like 3 months, and then I go back to school and then come back for 3 months. And then I recorded my first song that I actually put out, and it's still out, so I haven't taken it down. I wouldn't. Called Stay Right, and
Mhm.
I recorded it at the recording studio that I was interning at the time. And because that stuff is so expensive to do, the songwriting award was like a grand, and I was able to bring that here to LA and record to put that out.
Oh, so it was a contest, and you won some money for the song, and it was just done through this school that you're going to.
Yeah, the contest was through the school. The trip to LA was through the school. Yeah, it was through Elon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with was the song "Stay Right" the one that won the contest?
Yeah.
Oh, rad. Okay. So then you get to LA and you're working at the studio, you record that song, and then do you stay in Los Angeles after you finish college, or like what kind of, where's the next step for you, or where did you go next?
Yeah, I mean, I went home for 3 months, saved up as much money as I could for those couple of months, and then in September of 2018, I permanently drove across the country with my roommate, and yeah, we moved here. And first 2 years were a little odd, and then there was a pandemic, but I think now I'm feeling like my footing is finally grounded in this industry and in this scene. I didn't come out here for music. I say I did now because that's all I'm doing, but I am finally like fully in the swing of things.
Got it. So the first couple of years there, were you just trying to get in different writing sessions? Was it the dream to just pursue a solo career?
I think music was put on the back burner for a bit because I was only doing a release a year, like from my like junior year of college to like 2 years, I guess as an adult, like 2 years
Mhm.
post college. I would just release one song. It was something I loved to do, but I wasn't playing a ton of shows. My goal was to like get a 9 to 5 salary job, make a lot of money, go out on the town, and
Sure.
music was like a side thing. And hey, it worked for a bit. I had a lot of money at one point, and when I say a lot, it's not even that much, just way more than I have now. And I would go out and I would have a great time. I'd buy expensive cocktails and I'd wake up and go into my little office job. And that was very quickly realized not the life for me.
Okay. And then at one point you're just like, I'm done with this. Was there something that changed as far as like, did you just say, I'm going to put a song out and it did well? Like, or was it just like, I can't continue
Uh,
on in
I mean, the
this way?
pandemic happened and I got laid off. So that was
Oh,
kind of
that was
like a
kind of a help.
forced, yeah, thing. But once it happened, I did start focusing on music more. And I mean, it didn't go viral, but I had a song that got placed on like this girl's playlist that went viral on TikTok. And so my streaming numbers were like crazy for that for I think it was 2020.
Wow.
And then after that, I was like, whoa, is that all it takes? Like that one.
Yeah. What happened? Like, tell me about that.
I mean, yeah, it was just this one girl, her name's Ashley, and she had a TikTok video of like, if you want to listen to a playlist that makes you feel this way, I've just made all these playlists, and her video absolutely blew up, like millions of watches. And I DM'd her on Instagram and I was like, hey, sorry if you get this a lot, but I'm an independent artist and I saw something, the titles of your playlist. I looked through them and I just released a song. At the time it was Kiss and Makeup. And I'm like wondering if you would mind putting it on one of your playlists. She wound up putting it on like 15 of them. And
Oh, wow.
that was my first song. I mean, now numbers are crazy these days, but that was my first song to break 100K streams on Spotify alone. So that was a big deal to me. That was kind
I'm
of when
sure
things started picking up. But that was also when I was releasing pop music. So it's a little
it
different now.
changed a little bit. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
that song did well. That's cool. And then the pandemic hits, you lose the job and you're at home and you just start working. I know you released an EP in 2020, right?
Yeah, I released an EP. Yes. Yes, it was 2021.
Oh, 2021. So you released a handful of songs in 2020, and then in 2021 you released the EP.
Yeah,
So
I was doing a lot of singles.
okay, so 2020, you're at home, and then are you just writing? Like, tell me, you're
Yeah.
just focusing on, okay, I'm gonna just do an artist thing now. I had the one song do well. Let's continue to ride this.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, at the time, because I got laid off, we were getting stimulus checks, so I was able to support myself while I like did a little freelance work here on the computer, because I still work in social media even now. But oh yeah, I was streaming on a YouNow. I was just like hanging out with people singing songs, and that was like a awesome stream of income for me during the pandemic. So I was able to build a really cool fan base over on that platform. I was like partnered with them. I had like 20,000 profile views with people coming all the time. I met such an amazing community through like YouNow. We were all stuck like literally right here in this little box. So
Mhm.
that was kind of all I did. And I guess writing wise, I mean, yeah, I still am chronically on TikTok, but I was really on TikTok a lot and like seeing all those challenges, like write to this beat, write to this
Mhm.
chord progression, and I was just doing a ton of those. And that's how my Jersey Boy EP came about last year, because I was just on TikTok like writing to all these people's type beats.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and from there, like what's kind of the next big moment for you? I mean, you said Nashville in your Instagram things. Did you move here? I'm in Nashville, so I'm curious. Did you move to Nashville for a bit or no? Just kind of travel here to write?
I just travel. I usually come for a week or two at a time, every like 2 to 3 months. I will say there are heavy plans to move there in the very near future, but I don't know when exactly yet. Just because there's a really awesome community out there. But I guess that like that pivotal like change after Jersey Boy, because I got some really cool editorial placements with that EP. That kind of was like the soft launch into a more rock side of me, and I just didn't want
Mhm.
to hit it in the head, so I made sure there was still some like cutesy pop elements in it. But after that, I kind of for fun released a cover of Lollipop by Lil Wayne, but it's Framing
Yeah.
Hanley's version, and that did surprisingly well. I realized that people liked my voice with that type of music, and I mean I always knew that, but I didn't think I wanted to admit it. But it was a blast to put out. I got on We Are Triumphant's Got You Covered 6, and then befriended Framing Hanley from it just because I put it out. And then yeah, that's kind of how everything like shifted. That's how the
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing
yeah,
shifted.
yeah, yeah. And you so like for example, you did like emo night. Well, that was a couple weeks ago, right? The one in Nashville.
Yeah, the one in now that's the third one this year. I've done 3 different emo nights in 3 different states, which is like really
Wow,
cool.
that's
Yeah.
cool to be a part of.
Yeah, I got those myself. Just ask people like, hey, I'm an artist, like a rising pop punk artist. I have some songs. I love what you're doing. You don't have to pay me anything. I just want to be here for a good time.
Hmm.
And it's been like a blast to be able to do that and for those people to give me, you know, their stages to just kind of show up on.
Hmm. I mean, I'm old, and when I was growing up, I love emo and in like that style pop punk because when I was younger, like it was Taking Back Sunday has just kind of started and they were coming around, and like those bands were starting to do things and getting bigger, and then the Warped Tour became this huge deal. Not that it wasn't, but it kind of really took a turn with a lot of those bands, and I love this like kind of new resurgence of that genre. I think it's so cool to see. There's a lot of cool new artists that are coming out like yourself that are doing this, and they're doing it really well. Like I mean, like Charlotte Sands is a great example of somebody that comes out and she had a pop thing going, but then now she's got a total not different sound, but I mean doing songs like
Her
Sleeping
voice
Beside.
suits it. Like she doesn't
Yeah,
sound like a pop
perfect.
artist, you know? Like
Right, right. I mean, Taylor Acorn, who's on that, I think she was on Emo Night too, wasn't she?
yeah,
The
yeah,
one that
yeah,
you
yeah.
did?
She
Yeah,
was.
she was a
She was on 2
country
of them that I did
artist.
actually. But
She was a country artist, and then
yeah.
she started putting out like rad pop emo songs. So it's just really cool how this whole thing is kind of changing, and you see these artists, and then obviously the older ones. Like from what I read, you have an EP coming out. I want to talk to you about the new song because I see a lot of similarities, like people that I've interviewed that have worked with you on this record. So yeah, the most recent one you put out is the FTS Sick of This, right? Fuck this
Yeah.
shit, sick of this.
Yes.
Okay. Well, talk to me about that song and how that relates to then you have an EP coming out. From what I read, your publicist said in
Yeah.
February.
Yes, yes. February 24th, I believe, is the date. Yeah. FTS was, I mean, the whole rollout of pop punk inspired songs this past year, you know, FULOL and I Guess I Like You Anyway. That's when I've been flying to Nashville to work with Chase Coy, who I grew up listening to. I'm not sure if you know who he is. He's in Nashville. Yeah, I said that already. But yeah, I flew there to work with him and he was
Mm-mm.
really big in
I don't know him. Is he like in a? Maybe I would if I knew. Is he in a band or anything?
if you just type in his name Chase Coy, you probably would like on Spotify, you might know. He had a song with Colby Calais.
Oh,
It's his top song, but he was like an acoustic emo guy. Like it's so interesting. A lot of people don't know him, but I'm like, this was one of my biggest artists that I listened to growing up. And I get
interesting.
so
Yeah,
proud that I get to work with him.
that's really awesome. I'm gonna look him up right now as you tell me about this song and this experience, just
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
could be like,
yeah.
oh, if I know this who he is or whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he's a great guy. He's very talented. So I mean, he found I obviously had followed him already, but he kind of noticed that I followed him and I was doing music at the time. So he, you know, hit me up to work together. But we did the EP together. We did the first few songs this year that are also going to be on the EP. But then 2 of the songs that I wrote, FULOL and FTS, I wrote with Mike Grubbs, who was also known as Wakey Wakey. He was on One Tree Hill.
Oh
And
wow. Okay.
yeah, a great guy, amazing songwriter. I don't normally go into writing sessions. I want to be doing them so much more because I only think it'll make a better product. I'm just not used to it. Like last night, I was literally sitting on my bed at like 4 a.m. writing a song by myself, and that's kind of how I do it. But Grubbs totally turned that around. I mean, we got on a Zoom once, and I was like, wow, this is a fun song. We did that so fast. Let's try it again. And then, you know, that was FULOL. And then that was FTS. This time we get in the Zoom again. And I'm like, oh my God, we just finished another song. I love it so much. Like I'm putting it out. And so that's kind of how it came about. And then, you know, lyric wise, it's kind of, you know, about struggling and not being able to afford anything, being an
Mhm.
independent artist, trying to make it. I think a lot of people can relate to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can't remember who I interviewed recently. She actually opened for Charlotte Sands. Oh, Caro Bay. She has a similar sound too. So she's in that crowd and that sound, and she's from Nashville.
Yeah.
And she's independent. So I was talking to her about all this. Like, I think it's so cool that I mean, she was telling me that basically she owns all the masters to everything that she does. So like all the Spotify streams, all of that is just like hers, right? I mean, it's cool to see artists like yourself and being able to really push and get on these bigger shows and be able to put music out yourself and put out an EP and work with these bigger artists. I mean, we'll talk. I mean, you had Kellen Quinn on it. You had Casey from the Wonder Years, who I've met and interviewed him for his podcast and vice versa. And like, it's cool to see, you know, that you have those people in your, you know, corner and you're doing this independently.
That's been the coolest experience. That's kind of something I constantly like think back to, because like my streaming numbers don't look like a lot of people in the scene. Like I'm still a baby artist when it comes to that, but oh my God, there are some really cool people that I am friends with now, mutuals with, that support me. Like, you know, it's like, you know, you're doing something right when you have like XYZ just like hitting you up being like, yeah, your stuff's really good, I love it, and it means the world to me. And that's like the coolest thing. I keep telling myself in my head, I'm like, oh my God, this person follows me, this person, like some of my favorite like artists from back in the day, like one of the dudes who recorded Mayday Parade like follows me and found my stuff. And I thought that was the coolest thing. He's like, I recorded this album, I love your work. Like that validation is like insane, and I'm so grateful for it. That's like the big thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, just to have these people supporting you and loving what you do. Like, it's not that you don't have a lot of streams, but there's some people, you know, they'll have a song that's like X million plays or whatever, and like, but like to have that support from the level of those people, I mean, it's only gonna just be like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I can just already see it doing so well for you. It's I know I keep bringing up Charlotte Sands, but I just saw her post, like her just because it just made me think of this right now. You had like the Spotify recap, whatever, like blah 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 stream monthly. You know how everyone's posting those little squares at the end of the
Yeah.
year. If you want hers, if you like scroll across a couple pictures, there's like a screenshot of a text conversation with someone that I think that produced one of the songs, and it was like, we're at, you know, whatever, like
5,000
17
streams.
streams or something. It was like such a low amount, and it was like the date on it was like from 2 years prior, and then now it's like, you know, she's got 5 million monthly listeners and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And it's like she's also done what you're doing, like teamed up with these people like Kellen Quinn or, you know, Casey, or like these people that have these careers and these fan bases, but they're obviously music fanatics and they know what's good and are like, hey, like this person is awesome, let's, you know, support them.
Yeah, absolutely. I commented on that post too, and I was like, this is so, I mean, I love her, I'll talk about her any day. I'm like, this is so inspiring. Like literally after
Yeah.
1 year, her just like, man, skyrocketed. People recognize. I mean, she even worked with Chase. Chase did her first song with her.
Oh, really? I see. I
Yeah.
don't know her. I've never even met her or anything. I just became hip to her when I saw that she was on that song with the main and Taking Back Sunday. I was like, oh, who's this? And then I went back and was listening to her
Oh,
earlier records,
nice.
and then just have interviewed people that are mutual friends of hers.
Yeah.
So it's been like interesting to see, like I'm putting all these connections together. Just I've been doing this podcast for like 3 years now. I was on the radio for 17 years, and now doing this and having interviewed with so many people that are all, and then it's such a small world, like a small like community. It's interesting to see from other you know, like this person worked with this person who's this person, and I was like, oh, like spider webbing all these people together.
Yes, it's crazy. And even like being an artist in that spider web, like I was thinking about that too, because I was talking to Taylor, because Taylor and her guitarist Ricky, I saw them in Jersey in August, and then we're like, oh, we're on the same lineup at Emo Night Nashville in November, and then we got to hang out again, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like I'm seeing the same people in different states, and then like, you know, being mutual friends with some of Charlotte's team, it's like there's some of the coolest people ever, and I see them all around all the time, and it's such a small community, and I'm like ridiculously grateful to like be a part of it in even some capacity. But I totally agree with you. It's everyone knows everybody. It's not as big as you think.
Yeah, you think just from the outside, like, whoa, like this is such a big world. And then it's like, oh, well, I know this person who knows this person who's worked on this record, who then did a feature. And it's just like everyone's kind of coming in this same web. And it's wild to think. I guess there's only
Yeah.
so many places and so many people in the industry, but like it seems so much bigger than when you're kind of in it. But so it says that Casey helped you like what co-write some of the record.
Actually, so funny story with Casey. He's really good friends with my mix engineer Carl, Carl Banner, and I think I was asking Carl like, hey, I want some like screamy, shouty guys on my songs to do some like, gang vocals, because that's like a thing that I will never get rid of. I love my gang vocals. And he introduced me to Tyler Drama, who's actually an incredible artist. And he's also based out of Jersey. And we became friends through, he was in my, I guess I like you anime music video. But he introduced me to Tyler and then Casey. And so Tyler and Casey were doing gang vocals on, so they had the gang vocals on the EP. I think Casey only has 2 songs, but he's been really awesome. He's been like a nice mentor and a friend. He's been supporting me on social media. It's kind of nice to see his comments pop up every once in a while, just like congratulating me, or he's sometimes in different outlets like tagging me. And then I've gotten on a couple calls with him. He's been doing a lot of really cool artist mentorships recently, and alongside like production and his podcast and stuff. And yeah, we kind of formed like a little friendship, I guess, over that. But he gave some great advice to me. So that's been a really cool experience getting to talk to Casey. I hope to have him on more of my songs. I think I was gonna have him back for the last couple ones, but he was on tour.
Oh
With
yeah,
years, obviously. So I didn't want
I think
to.
they just announced another one. Maybe I'm wrong.
Probably.
I think I saw that. I was like, whoa, you guys just did one. But yeah, he's such a good person. He's such a nice guy. And yeah, he's doing that record process. I think the record, I forgot what the hell it's
the record
called.
process.
Record process. Yeah, yeah, that's his podcast. That's what I thought. Yeah, and he's just like, he's doing a lot of that, and obviously the band. And it's cool to hear that he's working with up and coming artists as well.
Yeah, it's very cool. I definitely appreciate his contribution, even though it was small.
Yeah, but he's always so supportive. Like he'll like and comment on all my stuff, and I'm like, just bizarre that I'm like this. Yeah, I don't know. He's just too nice of a guy. And Kellen Quinn, he's on the record as well. He did a guest vocal.
Yeah, he's on the last song of the EP, which is going to be kind of like the big reveal, I guess. I guess it would be like the single of the EP when it drops in February. That's been a really cool process. It's mostly email communication, but Kellen has been fabulous to work with. He's so punctual, very professional, and super fast and talented. He wrote his part on the song and did a ton of other additional vocals for it. So that's exciting.
That's cool. That's cool. I know he works with a lot of artists too to get them even interested, and then not that, let alone sing on the record and then write his own piece. I mean, again, that's another validation for you. I would imagine.
Yeah, it was awesome. Once the song was done, I sent it to him and he seemed really excited. He was like, "This sounds so good." So I'm excited to see, his excitement for it once it's out. And I also just appreciate, I've said this before, that he gives smaller artists a platform. Like he's literally allowing us to kind of be part of his world for a little bit and pushing our stuff out, through his name and his writing. And I've been really, really grateful for that. So like props to him for doing that for us. It's really admirable.
Yeah, their new record is awesome. That new Sleeping with Silence. I interviewed him not that long ago, like right around I think it was oh, you saw? Yeah, it was like the second weekend they did the Not When We Were Young or whatever. Yeah, he's just such a sweet person. I couldn't believe how nice he was. I was like, wow, like for the amount of recognition and status he has in this, like in the emo world, I was like, wow, like this guy is way nicer than he has to be to anyone.
Exactly. Everyone says that too. Everyone I've like mentioned it to, or even just in passing, like people have so many wonderful things to say about him. And it's like it's really refreshing, honestly, with all like the crap that comes up sometimes about like older bands in the scene, and you just don't know what to do with that information. It's like that dude's just like chilling. He's just like
Yeah.
just being a good dude, making music.
Right. Yeah, I know. There's been it's been pretty sad to see some of these bands at recently enough, at least in that world and that scene, bands that I loved growing up. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? But I can't wait to hear the EP. I love the songs that I've heard thus far that you've done. And you said are you doing more shows coming up? I can't remember.
I am, but I haven't announced anything yet. There's about like 3, I don't know, there's a couple little things in the works. I'm still wrapping my head around the end of the year and then the EP.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I hope there's some really cool things lined up for the second half of 2023, but there will be a couple things in the early year announced.
Are you doing something for the release of the EP?
Kind of. I think that's sort of one of the shows that I'm trying to put together right now, but yeah, I need to make it to next week.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be home for Christmas, and then I can be like, okay, me time. Let's organize the first half of the year.
Nice. I love your play button over there too. Is that the
Yeah,
YouTube
the
play
YouTube.
button?
I'm a big fan of my cat's on my bed too. You can't really see her. She's like loafing right there. But
Sort of.
yeah,
I maybe is she gray or something? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, now I can see.
yeah,
Very cool.
I love YouTube. I'm a big YouTube and TikTok person. I don't watch a lot of movies or TV, but stay true to my
YouTube.
YouTube.
There you go. Well, I have one more question before I let you go, Leah. Thank you again so much for doing this. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Ooh, I mean, I think I always go to my go-to, but it's just stay persistent, stay patient and consistent. It took like this is like what 7 years like doing this and finally finding my sound, and stuff is finally happening. So it's just like having patience. I think a lot of people think that their expectations are overnight viral success, but that doesn't keep you like, cruising. That kind of gives you a really big spike, and then you kind of fall off if you don't have the drive and the patience and the consistency to like keep on going. So as annoying and terrible and hard as it gets, like I cry about it all the time. It's so stressful, but like it's so worth it because of all the other things that you get to do as an artist and the people you get to meet. It's worth it. Just like hang in there and don't give up. It's cheesy, but literally, like if I gave up, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, so bringing it backward.